welcome back to my channel. In today's video I have my review of It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover, which actually releases today, the day you're watching this. I already listened to the entire book last night as an audiobook in 3 hours. I listen to my audiobooks at 3 times the speed, so I got through it super quick. It was only an 8-hour and 40-minute audiobook, so not super long at all. But today I'm just going to give you my thoughts on the book, so let's get right into it. I do want to say right from the get-go, this is not going to be spoiler-free, and this also is not going to be spoiler-free of It Ends With Us. So if you haven't read either of the books, you may want to skip this one because, like I said, there will be spoilers from It Ends With Us and It Starts With Us in this video, so just keep that in mind before starting and getting into this one too much. So going into this book, I didn't really know anything about it. I didn't even read the synopsis or anything. I just knew it connected to It Ends With Us, which obviously I have read. I gave 5 stars. I absolutely love that book. Colleen Hoover's books are really hit or miss for me. They're either like 5 stars or I hate them. I'm always kind of hesitant when she comes out with a new one as to whether or not I'm gonna like it. So this one I just decided, you know what, I really liked It Ends With Us. This is obviously connected to that. I knew this had to do with Atlas, but I wasn't sure if this was like a prequel where we were gonna see their relationship before Ryle and then like maybe a little bit of after, or if this was gonna be more like a standalone romance between Atlas and Lily now that she's away from Ryle, or if this was going to be like a continuation of It Ends With Us. And I think really that's probably the best description of this, is it is a continuation, because I finished this last night, like I said, and I have been like stewing over my rating, and I'm still not sure where I'm at. I think right now I'm at like maybe like a 4.5 star, because I did really love the book. Like obviously it's got Atlas. He was so sweet. I was obsessed with him, and it was just really cute. I will say, like, you may want to reread It Ends With Us before this, because there were some things that I definitely didn't remember from that book, and I only read it last year. And so I was a little confused with like why she was hanging out with Ryle's sister still. Like I forgot that she works at the flower shop and they were friends and all that. And her journals, I forgot that she was writing to Ellen, because when that came up I was like, who the heck is Ellen? Like, did I miss a character in here somewhere? So you may want to reread that to like refresh your memory if you haven't read it recently. But I thought this was really cute. Like I said, I'm probably at the 4.5 star point in my rating. I've gone back and forth between 4 and 5 all night, and I just thought this was a really good sort of wrap up to their story. I feel like a lot of people were disappointed at the end of It Ends With Us that we literally get like 5 seconds of Lily and Atlas being together, and it was like, man, we suffered through all that Ryle content and that was all we got of Atlas. So I feel like in this one you definitely obviously get more Atlas, which was nice. He was really sweet. I loved how like protective he was of not just Lily but like his family, and just like looking out for people. Like he just is one of those guys that seems like he should be volunteering at like a animal shelter. Like he was just like the nicest guy on the planet. Because I wasn't sure if this was going to be written more as like a standalone, I was kind of surprised at how much Ryle was actually in this book. For some reason in my head, even though the whole point of It Ends With Us was sort of to make you fall in love with Ryle over the course of the book until you're like, okay, like this girl's gotta leave. And I sort of forgot about that, I guess, because he was here and I was kind of like, dude, why do you even want your kid? Like, you're a terrible person. But I kind of forgot about the fact that he wasn't, like, he was a terrible person, but like he wasn't all around terrible. Like he did have good aspects to his personality, I guess, and I sort of forgot that. And so it was sort of weird seeing him so much in this one. Obviously he's around a lot because they now have a daughter together, and that was super surprising. I'm sorry if you can hear the rain. It is like pouring outside and this is the only time I can film this, but I was just surprised how much he was around. I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting. I will say I wasn't expecting him to still be around and being like abusive, I guess. I feel like this book did leave things a little more open-ended with Ryle than maybe I would have liked. I mean, I guess the point of this is basically that he's never gonna change. But like that last scene where he drops off Emerson and he's in the car and Lily is like, oh my gosh, this is such a big moment for him, like him dropping Emerson off to you, like this is huge. And I was kind of like, okay, but is that the most we're hoping from him? Like, I feel like we should be expecting more. And I wasn't really sure how I felt about that. Like I guess he goes to anger management, I assume. I don't know if that's even mentioned. Like they tell them they want him to go, but does he go? I don't know if that was ever answered. I would hope he did. But dude obviously has issues, and so that was like an interesting part of the book I wasn't really expecting. Like I said, I wasn't really expecting Ryle to be in this at all. I don't know why. I just sort of thought this was going to be like a standalone of them, like Lily and Atlas falling in love again, and it was going to be more of like a second chance romance kind of book, and I wouldn't even really describe this as that, because it really truly is just a continuation of It Ends With Us. Like, if that book had just kept being written for another couple hundred pages, this would have been it. And so I thought that was sort of interesting. I wasn't really expecting that. Like I said, maybe I should have been, because it's literally labeled It Ends With Us #2 on Goodreads, but I don't know, I was just expecting more of like a standalone type story. I really loved seeing Atlas with his brother. I thought that was really cute, and how he was like looking out for him, and just like obviously his mom's kind of a jerk, and how he was dealing with that I feel like was good. I actually kind of thought Theo and Josh were going to get together, and I thought that would have been really cute, like the guy that this guy treated like his little brother and his actual little brother getting together. I thought that would have been cute, but I think Josh was straight in the end, so that was kind of sad. I thought that would have been cute. But I did like their friendship, and I thought it was like cute that he had already sort of befriended a kid his own brother's age without knowing he even had a brother. And I thought that aspect of the story was really sweet, and like obviously seeing him run his restaurants and things was really cute. I loved him reading Lily's letters, and like on their date when he just lets her sleep because she's so tired. Like I thought that was really cute when he just sat in the car reading her journal. And I like was so surprised that she actually gave those to him, because I could never. Like, if I had written all that stuff about a guy, I would never be like, here, read it. But I thought that was kind of cute that he was like writing his own little things back to her. I thought that was really sweet. And so like I guess in the end this book was pretty much everything I was wanting from it. Like, we do get Atlas, we do get their story, we get to see them sort of get their happily ever after and all of that. I will say I'm kind of surprised at how short this book was. Like I said, the audiobook's only 8 hours and 40 minutes. I actually did pre-order a physical copy of this book, and I was hoping it would be here in time for this video, but it's not supposed to be delivered for another 4 hours, so I'm not going to have that for a while. So I'm excited to see how big it is, like thickness wise, because I feel like Colleen Hoover's books, like that's like my little Colleen Hoover collection there, I feel like her books aren't normally super huge, but this one just seemed really short to me. I don't know. I was very hesitant going into this one, because I feel like oftentimes books like this, where the original one was published a while ago, and then the book blows up, you know, a year or 2 or 5 later, and all of a sudden the author's coming out with another book, I'm always kind of leery of that, because it does sort of come across as like a money grab. And I'm not saying that that's like what Colleen Hoover was doing or anything, because honestly, everyone knows she doesn't need a book that's going to be a money grab. She could literally sell anything tomorrow and people would buy 1 million copies of it. But I just like was leery of that, because like I think it's been at least 5 years since It Ends With Us was published. I'm not sure when exactly that came out, but it's been long enough that I don't think she was planning on writing a second book until now. Maybe she just never got around to it. I have no clue. But I was a little bit worried about that. I do think this one delivered on what it was promising though. Like, was it a groundbreaking like Colleen Hoover plot twist kind of story? No. But was it a good like follow-up to It Ends With Us? Yeah. And so I enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm probably sitting at like a 4.5 star right now. I just thought Atlas was so sweet, and like Lily obviously finally deserves her happy ending, which she gets in this. So I just thought that was really sweet. I thought it was really cute too when he was like asking her how long before he could do certain things. Like he's like, okay, well how long do I have to wait before you move in with me? And she's like, oh, like 6 months or whatever. And he's like, okay, well how long do I have to wait to propose? And she's like, a year. And I thought it was cute that he was actually like keeping tabs of those things. Like, okay, in 6 months I'm going to ask her to move in a year I'm going to ask her to marry me. And I just thought it was really sweet. Like I said, I was happy with this. I think it delivered on exactly what everybody wanted, which was more of Lily and Atlas and getting to see her sort of happy ever after. Because I know a lot of people sort of don't even classify It Ends With Us as a romance, because really it's more women's fiction, because she doesn't end up with the guy that she's with for most of the book. So there's really just sort of an underlying romance plotline in that book, and I feel like this one really gave it the full romance plotline that we were looking for, and watching Atlas sort of not win her back, I feel like, because he sort of already had her, but I just feel like watching him like actually take her out on dates and stuff was just really cute, and like obviously, like I said, really delivered on what people were hoping for, I think. One of the things I do like about Colleen Hoover's books is I find they're very easy to read. Like, it's not like I'm reading them and I'm getting confused as to what's happening with who and, you know, everything, and I feel like this one was no different. It was very easy for me to follow, even having read It Ends With Us so long ago. It was very easy for me to pick back up as like, okay, that's Ryle's sister, she works with Lily, she is anti-Ryle now, like, and I thought that was a good sort of vibe too, that like his sister wasn't taking his side just because it was his sister, and I appreciated that aspect. And even like her husband being Ryle's best friend, I liked that he was like, no, like he's my best friend, but I know where to like draw the line, like he's still got problems basically. And I liked that aspect, that they were still like there for him in like the brotherly duty sort of way, but like not standing with him against Lily. I thought that was really good, because I feel like in real life it's probably not all too common for that to happen, but I did like that sort of the way that that was written, and I thought it was really cute. And I liked the sister's relationship with Lily and her daughter, and just like protecting her and things, and like they were constantly worried about like, oh, like did Ryle get mad, like did this happen, blah blah blah. And I just thought it was nice that they were looking out for her, because like I said, in normal situations I feel like that wouldn't be what would happen. They'd probably hate her and say it was her fault and whatever. And so I thought that was like a sweet way of going about that. I really enjoyed that aspect of the book as well. And obviously loved Atlas and his like concern for her, and how he was just like, oh my gosh, like I want to go like beat up Ryle and whatever, but he was like, no, I'm not going to do that because it's not going to solve anything. And he was just like very level-headed and like chill, I guess. And I liked that we got to see a little bit more of his perspective of the early years, like that his thoughts with the first kiss and when the last time he saw her was, and like all that. I thought it was interesting to finally get his sort of take on that, because I feel like we only really saw Lily's in the first book, and so that was kind of nice as well. I liked sort of going back to that time. Like I said, I just feel like this was a really quick, easy read. It was, like I said, a follow-up to that story, so if you're looking for more Atlas, this delivers that. I think I'm gonna stick with the 4.5 star rating, to be honest. I'm like so back and forth, because I'm like, do I want to give it 5 stars? I feel like I'm giving it 5 stars just because I gave It Ends With Us 5 stars. But I did really enjoy this. But then I'm also like, maybe it's a 4 star, because it's not like an all-time favorite. Like, I don't know that I would ever go back and reread this, I don't think. But I also wouldn't go back and reread It Ends With Us. So I don't know what that really means. But I'm going to stick with 4.5 stars, I think. Like I said, did really enjoy it. And I think it really does a good job of showing her life after Ryle, and showing the challenges with that and the different things she has to deal with, and just like moving on with her life, and how just because she got out of this relationship doesn't mean that, you know, everything ended. Like there's actually a line in the book like that, that people basically like people think that once you get away from the abuser that the abuse stops, and she's like, really, you just lose all the good moments, because now they don't have the moments where he's like hugging her, or you know, they're just like hanging out or whatever when he was being nice. She just gets the moments where he's being a jerk. And I thought that was kind of sad, and I just think it was like a good portrayal of like what happened. I'm glad they didn't make it so that Ryle was just like completely fine all of a sudden. Like he was like, oh yeah, I stopped all of that, like blah blah blah. Which, like, while I do think that probably maybe could happen, I don't really know a whole lot about this topic in like real life. But I feel like this was just more realistic in that he still has issues. He's still got issues with her, and he's obviously got issues with like insecurity and jealousy too, because like when it comes to Atlas, this dude has no chill. But I think it was all like well done in that aspect. So I'm glad like Colleen wrote it that way. Like I don't think I would have liked it as much if they were just like, oh yeah, Ryle's like completely normal now and he is around all the time and is just like has no problems and blah blah blah. I'm also glad that they didn't give Ryle a girlfriend. Like, I kind of thought maybe, like, Lily's moving on, maybe they're gonna make Ryle move on too, and then I feel like we all would have just been, like, cringing at this girl, and so I'm glad that he was single for this book as well, because I think he should have been. And so I think those are all of my thoughts on this book. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. I do new book videos every single week, and I will see you next time.